We are talking about child soldiers. You know, last 2 months, there are 700 children died. What happened? I mean, why we are not talking about that? 700 children died. And not only that, these children, if they are come to the camp, again they will be killed. Then why can't they join the LTT and fight for their cause? I think anybody will do that.
All right, I'm going to take question from Fiona Billiter, please. Fiona, your question, please.
My question to the panel is, do you think an independent Tamil state is a realistic and workable model for the region?
Can I answer?
Douglas.
Yes. The Tamil homeland, for everybody to know, is South India, Tamil Nadu, where 70 million Tamils live. It's not in Sri Lanka, this small island. So they're talking about traditional homeland. They have driven out, as I said, all the Sinhalese and the Muslims. Ethnic cleansing was done in the north. 100,000 Muslims were thrown out overnight, given only to take £5 worth of money, and they are still living in camps. But there is no concern about saying, oh, what about those civilians living, 100,000 Muslims living in camps from 1990? But the traditional homeland concept is something that they have brought up, and when people say, oh yes, we have been living, we know history of Sri Lanka.
So Douglas, is that a no then?
Well, obviously, Sri Lanka has a history, a written history, where the whole country was a united country, and the Tamil and the eastern region. Now, the eastern region, the chief minister was a child soldier, a Tamil child soldier, and he's been made a chief minister.
Robert, you have represented Europe in these matters. Do you think that, in view of all the conflict that's gone on, a two-state solution is the way forward, or do you see any possibility of a unitary state in Sri Lanka?
I think the two-state solution is going to be a lot more difficult now because of the military situation that's been going for the last few weeks and months, which has devastated parts of the north. But, you know, I don't know, we don't want to take a decision from the audience, but I think most people, most reasonable people, think that in the Middle East, a two-state solution is the answer in the Middle East. I don't see why we say that it's all right in that part of the world, but it's not elsewhere. And I've been in the last few years... In the last few years, I've been to I observed the elections for independence of Montenegro, from Serbia, Montenegro. And so we say to the Montenegrins, and there's lots of Montenegrins living in Serbia, there's lots of Serbs living in Montenegro, we've given independence to Montenegro, we've granted independence to Kosovo. And I think there's a bit of double standards.
Okay, so are you saying you support an independent Tamil state?
I think that is going to be a federal structure, giving a huge amount of autonomy to the Tamil people, would have been an ideal way forward a few months ago. I think now the situation is going to be very, very difficult because there's a lot of resentment.
Michael?
You have to remember, the vast majority of Tamils do not want Elam. I know some people do, and maybe half the audience wants Elam, but the vast majority of Tamils do not want Elam.
It's never been
Jeremy, you and I, Jeremy, I'm talking to the chairman.
No, let him finish. Then I'm going to come to you,
Jeremy, you and I were involved in Northern Ireland. Now, we didn't have a two-state solution to the Northern Ireland problem. What we had was talking together between two very, very different communities, and we had the money out of the states stopped that was providing the arms for one particular faction. So that's what brought peace in Northern Ireland.
Can I bring you in here? Do you think a Tamil state in the north and east is viable or not?
Indeed, it is the only way forward. There should be an immediate ceasefire so that the killings can stop, and food and medical supplies and stuff that is not available for these innocent civilians can flow in. There must be a peace process. Just like Robert was talking about, there was a ceasefire sponsored by the co-chairs, internationally sponsored ceasefire agreement. Just like any agreement that has been done...
Hang on, that was a ceasefire. That doesn't necessarily bring about a solution.
Like I said...
That is merely a halt in the fighting.
Like I said, in the Middle East, if you're going to interrupt, then I'll keep talking.
Then you walked out.
Yeah.
No, you carry on talking. It's fine. You've got the floor.
Just like in the Middle East, unless there is a two-state solution, there's not going to be peace and stability in that region. There can be two nations, friendly nations, who can live.
So you see a Tamil state as being viable. Okay, audience question. Front row, gentleman there with the blue tie. Dark blue tie.
Thank you, Jeremy, and good evening, panel. there is a genocide going on in Sri Lanka.
No.
So the security of
Let
the
him ask his
civilians-
question.
security of the civilians is at risk. So therefore, the only way to bring about peace to prosper in Sri Lanka is a two-state solution. And it's not only the leaders of Sri Lanka who are making statements like hospitals are a legitimate target and killing patients there. It's the people here. For instance, Lord Naseby, last year, in one of the public meetings in the
Can
House
you
of Commons...
get to your point?
Yeah, if you don't interrupt, I'll finish it. Now, in a committee room, he said he's a trained pilot himself, and if you bomb terrorist targets, civilians do get killed, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's well publicized. And does he
All right.
does he want to...
I'll give Lord Naseby a chance to answer that question. Gentleman at the back there.
My question is about first of all, the forum to Press TV, where I don't see the panel has been constituted with a Muslim member of Sri Lankan community, where I feel that this has been a discrimination, first place. Second thing is that I come from the east of Sri Lanka, where the genocide has been taken place, committed by the LTT in 1990. Yeah. This was in my own family, 22 members had been killed by the LTT in a mosque when they were praying. So what I'm talking about this, no two-state is possible in Sri Lanka unless the Muslims be part of it in any solution of the Sri Lankan peace.
Of course.
Thanks. Gentleman at the back. Hey, sit down, please.
All right. Yeah, the thing is, there existed two nations, before the foreign invasions. And it is the Britain, there existed Tamil Kingdom and Sri Lanka, the Kingdom for Sinhalese. And it's the Britain that brought together and, ruled as a single country. Yeah? I can compare this to a civil marriage case where, two partners were brought together, but both of them are different in every respect. We are different from Sinhalese in religion and everything. So if the marriage doesn't work out, the only solution is separation. And we people prefer Tamil Eelam.
Thank you. Lady over there.
Give with a government that is using cluster bombs and phosphorus bomb and killing even small children. They are talking about child recruitment, but violently they are killing. You can't see the pictures even.
Okay. Can I put these points back to the panel now? We've heard the allegations. We've heard the discussion about a independent Tamil state. Michael, is it viable or not, really, to do this? Or I'm going to come back to you. Or is it possible that there can be any coming together despite all the bloodshed and all the killing that's gone on both sides?
I fervently believe it coming together is quite possible. And the Muslim gentleman is quite right. I mean, if you look at the eastern province, that is not Tamil-dominated. The language is more Tamil than Sinhalese, but there is a very important dimension, I think it's about 24% Muslim in the eastern province.
30%.
Okay. So, thank you very much. So that answers that one. Secondly, the genocide. Now, the gentleman who says there's genocide today is talking rubbish if he's referring to the government. The only people causing a genocide are the Tamil Tigers by keeping the civilians there. There's been appeals from everybody around the world to let the civilians out, and then they can either decide to lay their arms down or they will be killed.